All right, hello and welcome into Unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Preston Poole. That is Tyler Adams. Teabag. Follow us on X at Preston Poole 405 at Tyler's Takes. The pod account is at Unadvised Pod. A lot of football to get into. Big football weekend. Teabag, how are you doing before we get started?
Today's my flu game. My allergies they've gotten the best of me to the point to where I have a little app for my doctor. It's called My Chart. And
Yes.
I sent messages like, can you prescribe me anything, please? So it's nothing bad. Like I'm not running fever or anything. Maybe like mild fever, but it's getting the best of me. I'm tired of coughing, sneezing, and stuffed up nose and runny nose and everything involved.
Yeah. Better you than me is what I'll say. I am not sick and I do not want to be sick.
Well, I said flu game. We don't take off days here. We're football guys. We're tough.
Between Thursday night football, me watching Storm Chasers chase hurricanes in Florida, we've got a lot going on here tonight on Unadvised. Before we get into Oklahoma State, let's talk about this Cowboys-Giants matchup that's getting ready to kick off there in New Jersey. I always forget the city that they play in, Meadowlands, I think is the name. Yeah. So that game's about to kick off here in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. So what are your thoughts on the Cowboys taking on the Giants tonight?
A yuck of a game. We're back to yuck Thursday night football games. That's how you know we're in the heart of football season. We're just in the thick of it is when we get the yuck Thursday night football games with the also college football option as Army versus Temple. I surprisingly tonight, Preston, I surprisingly like the Giants. I don't know why. Yeah. I think there's some, internal drama going on with the Cowboys. It kind of just feels like it's kind of just been lingering. CeeDee Lamb has had some, slight attitude problems lately. And he came out and addressed them, this past week. But I think the Giants' defense isn't terrible. Now, they're not great, but I think they're enough to slow down the offense. And these are also two desperate coaches going at it. But I think Daboll's a little bit more desperate. So I weirdly like the Giants tonight in a gross football game.
It's gotten to the point where Mike McCarthy is coaching for his job every week. So that has to be another added stress that he probably doesn't need on him. But I don't know if I agree with you right now. Dallas is a 5-point favorite. I would probably still lean the Cowboys just because I think Daniel Jones is bottom tier quarterback in the NFL.
That's where my hesitation comes into is Daniel Jones.
Malik Neighbors is awesome though.
He's a stud. He's a stud. He's the guy I'm most excited to watch tonight for sure.
Yes, to see stat right on the TV here. Cowboys have won last 13 of 14 meetings. Oh, so you do the math on that. Giants are due. They are wearing their white helmets and with the white jersey. I don't know how to explain it, but
Cowboys are Giants.
The Cowboys, white helmets, white jerseys, and all that look pretty sleek. So I'll stick with the Cowboys just because I do not trust the New York Football Giants at all. But let's get into some college football going on this weekend. The Sooners traveling down their first SEC road trip. They travel down to Auburn, Alabama to take on the Tigers. Biggest news with this one, Teabag, Michael Hawkins Jr. gets to start his very first game with the Sooners as a true freshman. The bad news is he might not have anyone to catch passes.
Yeah, we can get to the injury report here in a second, but injury report came out. Nick Anderson out. I think we all probably kind of figured that. I've kind of heard some things around the office that Nick Anderson might just be done for this season. He might just kind of just go ahead and start preparing for the NFL draft. So if you're a Sooner fan, I'm not reporting that as factual news. I haven't heard from a good source. It's just kind of what I've been hearing around that Nick Anderson very well could be done for the season. So maybe brace yourself for that one. Yeah, Michael Hawkins. I still think he gives OU the best shot to win. I mean, I think everyone does. I mean, I know you agree with that. I'm excited to see him play. He's going to have a good first test playing on the road. Maybe the ideal first test would be Auburn at home,
Yeah.
But, getting him on the road, it's going to be it's going to be hostile in the sense it's going to be, 85,000 screaming fans, but it's not like it's number 5 versus number 6 going at it to where it's going to be just the absolute craziest Jordan Hare's ever been. But it's going to be a good first test. You got to play him the whole game, no matter how bad he is, in my opinion. You got to play him the whole game. Just let him figure it out, make those freshman mistakes, and then get the bye week going into the Cotton Bowl. So that's where I'm at with this. Talked to Trace Ford this morning on the Morning Animals. Said teams rallying around Hawkins. They're all still obviously supporting Jackson, but they're ready for to see what Hawkins can bring to the team. And he was saying, he might be a freshman, but with the way he keeps his composure and stuff, he really doesn't act like it. Gave a Kyler Murray comparison too.
Yeah, well, hey, that's not a bad comparison or a bad player to can be compared to. I was driving around earlier today during lunchtime, and I heard Mark have a guest on. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he said the Sooners defense is going to be the best unit on the field. And my question is,
was it Todd Furman?
It possibly could have been. I'm just blanking
because that's a guess. Like last Tuesday, that's yes. I was referencing to Mark, and I couldn't remember the name. And it was when the show ended, I was like Todd Furman. So we might have just had the same issue there because I think he has Todd Furman on Thursdays.
But he said that the Sooners defense is going to be the best unit on the team, and my question is, who's the second best unit on the field? I mean, in this game, is it the OU offense?
Well, I think Auburn offense is decent. It's just they turn the ball over like it's nothing. Like they had 5 turnovers,
which is bad if you're playing the Oklahoma defense.
Yeah, that's gonna be the key to the game right there. Is Auburn? Off the top of my head, they have 5 turnovers against Cal and then 5 turnovers against Arkansas. So just 10 turnovers right there. You hope to only have 10 turnovers in a whole season, and they had them in 2 games already, 2 combined games, I should say. That's definitely going to be the key right there. So maybe the Auburn offense, I think that might just go how stinky this game is. Maybe the Auburn offense is technically the second best unit if they're not turning the ball over.
Yeah, which the Sooners defense is great at getting turnovers so far this season, even against Tennessee. So if I had to guess, they will probably get a turnover or 2 come Saturday there in Auburn. I'm interested to see how the offense does with the full week of Michael Hawkins getting reps with the ones. That's going to be interesting because I think that giving him that full week and not, him being in a battle with Jackson Arnold, basically, I think is a lot better for the Sooners heading into this game.
I agree, and I think Brent Venables said on his press conference he's going to get away with the RPOs too, which I think needs to happen because they haven't been able to figure out those all year. And I think Seth Lachel's, we all said Jeff Lebby was addicted to the jet sweep. He was addicted to Seth Lachel's addicted to the RPOs. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the OU offense.
Yes. Let's get into that injury report though. Like you said, Nick Anderson out. Kendall Dolby obviously just had surgery on his ankle, so he's out. One that I didn't see coming, the kicker Tyler Keltner is out for this ball game.
Appendicitis.
Okay, did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. Yeah, that
at least so he has a backup kicker then, Zach Schmidt.
Yes.
Kerry was represented this morning. It's better than Luke Elzinga getting appendicitis.
You got a guy that's got at least a full year or 2 of experience being a kicker. So doubtful for this ball game, Andrew Anthony and Taylor Tatum. I think Tatum got his bell rung against Tennessee, so he's got a little bit of probably a concussion there. Questionable Deshaun McCullough. We have not seen him yet this season for the Sooners, I don't believe. Deion Burke's questionable, and then Jake Taylor is a probable for that offensive line. So, I mean, the injury report for the Sooners could be like 2 chapters long. It's what it feels like.
Chapter 1, Andrew Anthony.
Yeah. And then the chapter 1 is all the outs. Chapter 2 is the doubtfuls. 3 is the questionables. And then the ending of the book is just the probables. So
RPOs.
Yes. So that is the injury report for the Sooners as they head to Auburn to take on the Tigers. This game I've got here could be a game of whatever team scores first.
Yeah, I think this game's going to come down to if Auburn doesn't turn the ball over, they win. If they do turn the ball over, OU is going to win. That's what I think. Yeah. I think it's kind of as simple as that.
Yeah, it very.
And
simple.
I think OU is going to be able to force turnovers. So
so do I. I'm not going to pick Oklahoma this weekekend, but I've got a good feeling about the -2. So, but that also could be telling the way that I've bet this week or this year. So, Could be our first hurricane game in the SEC for the Sooners. It's not going to be, but it could. I think it's going to be passed by Saturday, but that could mean that the field is bogged down a little slow on
they
Saturday
said
there.
we had the Auburn radio guy on yesterday on Mark's show. Mark and Kale had him on, and he was saying that the field drains well, so it shouldn't be an issue. But then again, it's a hurricane, so it's not 3 inches coming in. We got a hurricane, so we'll see. But field drains well is all I know.
Well, that's at least good. We don't have to get like the helicopter out there to hover over the field to get all the water off or anything like that. So hopefully there'll be a nice fast field there in Auburn. You got any predictions for this game? Score predictions? What do you got?
I'm gonna go gross. I'll just go 21-20 Auburn or OU.
Yeah.
I think
Auburn covers and OU wins.
Yeah. Like I could easily say 21-20 Auburn or 24-20. I could give you so many different score predictions and I still wouldn't feel confident in any of them. You give me 4 guesses, be like, we'll see. But I think OU's just gonna win just based off the defense.
I agree. I'll say 21-14. Oklahoma wins by a touchdown. Somewhere in that range, because I think the defense is close to elite for the Sooners. I mean, we saw that last week. You can say that Heupel slowed it down and all that stuff, but they were still able to stop the run.
They're playing good in the first half too. I mean, Heupel slowed it down in the second half, and OU was still playing good when they were going full speed.
Yeah, exactly. So that defense is going to be good in Auburn, like you said earlier, turns the ball over way too much. And the Sooners are pretty good at getting turnovers. So I think the Sooners are in a pretty good spot now. How about up in, what do they call it, the Little Apple?
Yeah, Little Apple.
Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. The Oklahoma State Cowboys traveling up there to take on Kansas State right now. Wildcats, a 5-point favorite in that one. And my first point, for the love of God, get Ollie Gordon going. He needs to just be unleashed somehow. I don't know how it's going to happen, but get him going, man.
Yeah, I mean, I went on my rant on Tuesday's show, or maybe it was in Sunday's show. I don't remember which one.
Might have been both.
Probably both. Probably was. Just I'm tired of this run game. Oh, that threw me off. I'm getting a FaceTime right now, and it took away the screen, and I got the ringtone going in my ear. I went on my rant about the run game, and I just think they suck. I don't think you can improve it, sure. I don't think there's a true fix to it. I just don't think they're any good. If they can't, the Tulsa game was a game that really kind of did it in for me. I was like, they can't run the ball against Tulsa. How are they going to be able to do it against better competition? So I'm not feeling too confident in this game. I'm not feeling too confident in the rest of the postseason. I think this team is just a guy of a team. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, you must be sick. You might be running a fever. I think with your
I probably am.
With your takes there. We might have to revisit that on Sunday when you're feeling better.
Maybe a little reverse psychology here.
Yeah. So if Alan Bowman struggles in this game, is this finally where they're going to put in Zane Flores? Are we finally going to be able to see what he looks like and make sure he's a real person?
I don't think we're going to see Zane Flores in this game, but I think if Alan Bowman struggles, we're going to see Zane Flores eventually.
Let me put it this way: if Bowman gets like a concussion or something like that, are they going with Rangel or are they going with Flores?
I'm just going to say Rangel.
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to say, right? That's what you have to say. Yeah,
until we see it. Now, if Bowman sucks in this game and OSU, gets blown out by 20. Am I going to be – I think it might be then, all right, it's time to hand the keys over to Flores and see what he has going into the West Virginia game here in 9 days. But I think if it's an in-game situation, I think we're going to see Rangel. I also just don't think they want to – the famous Gunnar Gundy meme,
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do that to Zane quite yet.
Yeah, I could say, is he a redshirt freshman or sophomore? Redshirt freshman. Okay. To me, it just seems like he's been there for like 3 years and we haven't even seen from him. I don't know why that's.
OSU's had a different quarterback controversy every year for like 3 years because in 22 Spencer Sanders, but then he got hurt and then it was all over the place after that.
Yeah.
It was Gunnar Gundy and then Garrett Rango both.
So, yeah, Gunnar Gundy playing good up
place.
at Emporia State.
Yeah, and real quick, the people are just like, how did Mike let his son go whenever he's going to Emporia State? It's like the guy
a little bit different competition.
He practiced for three years against Division I level athletes. Goes down to Division II. I'm sure the game. I mean, Gunner's a good quarterback. Is he a Division I quarterback? No, I don't think so. Or Power 4 quarterback at least. No, he's not. But when you practice against those really good athletes for 3 years, and he played in games, he played a full 3 quarters against Iowa State in 2022, and Iowa State has a good defense. Yeah, I think Emporia State's probably a little bit easier. So let's just stop with that conversation right now. That's just non-ball knowers just speaking.
I need to check UCO's schedule and see if Emporia State comes into town to take on the Broncos. By the way, Broncos number 23 in the country in Division II. They've got one of the top offenses in Division II. So roll chose, shout out UCO. K-State looked awful against BYU last week. So this is a game where both teams are going to be fighting and clawing for a win, I think, to get back on the right track.
This is a half-assed playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, if the loser's more than likely done. You're not mathematically eliminated, but it is an uphill climb that's very improbable if you lose this game.
Kind of a loser leaves town, Big 12 championship wise in this one. And then Manhattan, Kansas is just not a fun place to play at 11 a.m. on a Saturday in the fall. I've seen so many OU games where they're playing up in Manhattan and they've been playing good all year, and then things go south at 11 a.m. in Manhattan. So,
last time OSU played in Manhattan, it was 48-0. So,
okay, so there you go. Yeah, so Manhattan, not a fun place at 11 a.m. in the fall. Probably gonna be a little chilly, a little cold, maybe some dew on the turf there. So, not a fun place to be in the fall. You got anything else on this game before we move on? Give some scores.
I think the defense is going to need to play a good game. They did. Looking at it now, I mean, kind of going back and rewatching the film and looking at the numbers and stuff. The defense is not that good. They just need to do what they do and just make plays when they need to make plays, whether it's an interception or fourth down stop, third down stop, whatever it is. That's gonna be a key to the game for me. And then Alan Bowman's just gonna have to show up and be the best version of Alan Bowman. If they do that, because the run game, I'm not optimistic in. They'll have a puncher's chance.
Whatever they did in the second half against Arkansas, just do that again. But play maybe a little bit better defense.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, exactly. You've already done it once, right?
Yeah.
So why can't you do it again? You got a score in this one?
I'm going to go negative Nancy here, Press. I'm going to go 32-19 Kansas State.
I'll go 35-27 Kansas State. So I think that's
might as well put Kansas State in our logs.
Yeah, I might have that. So we'll check back in on that here.
And I do want to say I'm negative Nancy right now. If they win, I'm all the way back in. All the way back in.
Yeah, you'll do a full 180. Come Sunday. Sunday
Preston, like we can't do a show on the Thursday of Big 12 Championship week. I'm going to be in Arlington Sunday at the tailgate.
Someone's got to do it, right? All right, other big games in college football this weekend. Georgia taking on Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Georgia right now a 2-point favorite in that one. Will this T-Bag be a preview of the SEC championship game later on in the season?
No, it's not, Preston, because I think there's 4 teams competing for an SEC championship right now. 2 of them playing that we just mentioned, Georgia, Alabama, along with Texas and Tennessee. I think the loser of this game is obviously still a playoff team. I'm not going to say they're not a longer national championship team or anything, because they very damn well are. But I foresee a world where, Tennessee, if they go 1-1 against Georgia and Alabama, then they get a tiebreaker, whoever loses this game. However the dominoes fall. Texas plays Georgia at home. So I don't think it's a preview. It could be. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to be. But I think it's going to be the winner of this game and then maybe one of the 2 orange teams in the SEC.
I can get down with that. I think Tennessee's got a real shot Texas. We'll see with Texas as far as how long Quinn Ewers is out. Whenever their big games roll around, but they just haven't had a real big game outside of Michigan. And Michigan does nothing on offense.
It's kind of
Somehow,
boring that Texas's first SEC game is Mississippi State. Like
yeah,
OU gets Tennessee like a legit like big time matchup. Get the crowd juiced up.
yeah.
Then Texas gets Mississippi State. Like,
Look, that's just the SEC bias, right? Wait, we can't say that anymore.
I can.
Yeah, there you go. Especially with College Game Day, right? Which will be in town for Georgia taking on Alabama. Is this Alabama's first big test of the season? Because the only other big game they've played is Wisconsin.
Yeah, this is Kalen DeBoer's first big test. He can obviously afford to lose, but man, I don't foresee this happening at all. But if it does, where they lose by 10 points or something, oh boy, those Alabama fans are not going to be happy. Because when was the last time a team came into Bryant-Denny Stadium and won by double digits? So
yeah, I'm just thinking on
teams have gone there and won very rarely.
Yeah.
They've gone there and won, but it's always been close. So
but not a beatdown. Yeah, you're right.
This is a Kalen DeBoer test, and I don't know who I like in this game at all. I'm leaning Georgia just because I think Kirby Smart had almost like a Nick Saban mental block.
Yeah.
I think he lost to Nick Saban a couple of times when he was a better team. Obviously beat them in the national championship in 2021. But I think Kirby also lost a couple of times where maybe he had the better team, but Nick Saban was just that mental block.
It's like Mike Gundy versus Bob Stoops.
So I think that's going to help him a lot in this game.
No, I completely agree with you. I like Georgia in this one, no matter where they play it. But I think Georgia is just a good enough team. Although they did have that test against Kentucky a couple weeks ago where they won by 1 point in that one. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah, no, it should be pretty awesome. I think that's the night game there in Tuscaloosa. How about this one? This isn't like the big flashy game of the weekend, but this is always one of my favorite games to watch every year. That's Texas A&M and Arkansas in Jerry World there in Arlington. This game is never a blowout. It always goes to overtime, and there's always about 100 points scored in this game. This game is the absolute best.
Yep, I think Texas A&M's offense sucks right now. I mean, they've improved. They've improved since benching Weigman. I like Arkansas in this game. I think Arkansas is playing decent. I think Arkansas is a good football team. Hell, Arkansas should be 4-0 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have beaten OSU. They didn't, and they didn't by their own doing. They let OSU right back in that game and let OSU win that game. They had multiple chances to win it. Arkansas could very well be 4-0 right now. I think they're a good football team. I think A&M is having that first year Mike Elko struggles. So I like Arkansas in this game. Not by a big margin, like a 15-point game, but maybe like in this 7 to 10 ballpark.
Yes, some people will call Mike Elko's first season at A&M just A&M playing football because historically they have not been good ever. So yeah, but if you asked them, they've won.
But Johnny Manziel 12 years ago.
Exactly. Their only claim to fame ever at all. But yeah, that game is just one of my most favorite games to watch every single year because it's always just crazy. It always comes down to like a field goal in overtime or late in the fourth quarter. But yeah, give me the Hogs. I like Arkansas this year. I think they're a good squad. And then the other big game in college football, this one is I don't know how much of this I'm going to watch, to be honest with you, but Louisville taking on Notre Dame. This is a can't lose, must win for Notre Dame because if they lose, they're done in the playoffs. They're not getting the playoffs.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I'd be lying to say if I know anything about Louisville. I know they're ranked like 18 or something right now.
Yeah.
But
the only reason I put it on here is because it's two ranked teams. I have not watched a second of Louisville football.
Yeah, I haven't watched 1 second. I couldn't even tell you who they played, in all honesty. Louisville's just kind of like a boring football program. Like they're always a little decent, but they're just kind of boring.
They're flashy here and there with like Teddy Two Gloves and then Lamar.
But then other than that, it's just like woo. I mean, last year Louisville, everyone thought they were really good, and when they played I think it was Notre Dame and Florida State without Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get the job done. Lost to Kentucky last year too. I remember I was even watching that one, but yeah, just we'll see. I mean, it's a can't lose for Notre Dame, that's for sure. Is that game in Louisville?
No, it's in South Bend.
I'll take Notre Dame. What's the spread?
Yeah,
Do you have it?
they're a 7-point favorite right now. Notre Dame is. So
Okay.
I don't know what it opened as, but as of earlier today, they were a 7-point favorite. Yeah, I'll roll with Notre Dame, but I'm not too confident. I thought for sure last week that over would hit in that game with whoever or Miami of Ohio that they were playing.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame scored like 21 points and won the ball game. It was just terrible. So Notre Dame has an offense issue on their squad. And I'm pretty sure that their quarterback Riley Leonard threw his first touchdown pass of the season last week as well, too.
Yeah,
I think he'd only ran for a couple touchdowns.
He did it. He was hurt last year at Duke, so it's unfair to completely say. But I think he only threw like 3 touchdown passes at Duke in like 7 games or something last year.
Yeah,
and he's not really known for touchdown passes,
which is crazy because people hyped him up as like, this guy's good. He's going to come in and be good from the rip at Notre Dame, and obviously they lose to Northern Illinois earlier in this season. All right, anything else on college football before we hit the NFL?
Is Northern Illinois still undefeated, or did they lose?
No, they lost last week to Buffalo.
That sucks.
It was their first game since the Notre Dame game. They lost to Buffalo.
Sold out stuff. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, they got into the top 25 and then immediately got dropped out of the top 25.
Well, sucks for them.
Yeah. But all right, now on to the NFL. My first thing is, before we get into the games, why are so many damn players hurt this year? It seems like there's at least 5 players hurt on every single team.
It sucks. I feel like we ask this question every year, though, Preston. I think we just get brain fogged by it.
Yeah,
I feel like there's just maybe this year's probably does feel like more than usual because there's just so many star players out right now. I mean, look at the Rams versus Niners game this past Sunday.
Oh, that was
every star was out.
Talk about a injury report being a book. That one was like an actual book.
Almost. Yeah, that the logos and uniforms looked great against each other, and then you saw everything else like this is gross. So
yeah,
it's just player safety is definitely not taking the turn for the better in the NFL's point of view.
Well, yeah, I can tell you that because they don't want you hitting anyone, because Derwin James gets a suspension for a game this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. So just again, the NFL trying to rig things for the Kansas City Chiefs. Nothing new around these parts.
How about that non-PI call though? On Kyle Pitts on Monday Night Football.
Oh yeah,
we talked about that on Tuesday.
It's
terrible.
It's all over the place. All right, first game we're going to get into, the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Philadelphia, a 2-point favorite in this one. Who was it? The Broncos rolled into town last week to take on the Buccaneers and said, all right, calm down. You're not as good as what you thought you were, and knocked them down a peg. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts has a turnover problem where he just keeps basically handing the ball to the other team, every now and then during the game. So this one's pretty interesting.
Fraud bowl. This is a fraud bowl for me. Loses a fraud.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
I like that.
I mean, Buccaneers, I believed in them, but then they got smoked at home by the Broncos. Eagles, I'm just not convinced on. I'm still traumatized. Well, I should say traumatized. I'm not a fan by the Eagles, but I guess just traumatized by what I saw last season. Can't get it out of my brain. Don't trust Nick Sirianni. Don't trust Jalen Hurts to play consistently well. I trust to play consistently as well in the sense of like the majority of games he's going to play good. It's just those moments where he's going to turn the ball over and stuff. So, this was my fraud bowl.
No, I can get down with that because I mean Hurts just can't quit turning the ball over. They didn't even score until the fourth quarter last week against the Saints. They got lucky and won that ball game. And in the Buccaneers, we saw them not be as good as what they were the previous 2 games when they beat the Lions, and I forget who else they beat the week after the Lions, but had a couple of good wins, and they dropped that one to I think just a bad Broncos team.
They beat someone week 1.
Yeah, they beat the Lions week 1, but I forget who they beat. I guess
the Lions was week 2, right?
I thought that was week 1. If I can find it here.
Yeah, they beat the Commanders.
Washington. It was Commanders. You're right.
Yeah.
So Lions was week 2. They beat the Commanders week 1. Give me the Bucks. So this being played in Tampa, they're having a total washout right now down there with the hurricane sweeping by them, just missing them there. By the way, I saw this video. So in Tampa, there's like a bridge that goes across like the bay, and like parts of it
I saw
is
it
like
too.
just barely over the water, and the water's just going over the bridge, and there's water on the bridge. People are still driving. I was like, dude, screw that, man. Hurricanes are a big no for me. Look, I can do all the tornadoes because it's like a confined to like a small area, right? But a hurricane is just massive. So
And it's days on end too.
oh yeah, I mean they've
Lose
been known
power.
it's coming for what, the last week. I think they've been known it was going to hit them or something like that. So shout out to the people in Florida. Hopefully everyone makes it through that. All right, next game we're going to get into the Rams at the Bears. The Bears, a 3-point favorite, but I think that's just because the Rams are hurt.
Yeah, and I still like the Rams because I just don't have any faith in this Bears coaching staff. I'm still in on Caleb Williams. I still think he's gonna be a really good quarterback. Like I haven't wavered on him. I've gotten fears. Like, don't get me wrong, I've gotten scary thoughts in my head. That's just human nature. But I'm still on Caleb Williams. But this coaching staff is just so bad for the Bears. Shane Waldron, terrible. Matt Eberflus, sucks. So we'll see. I think the Bears can win this game, but if we're talking just the points here, I'd take the Rams +3. I think it's kind of maybe a little too much because I don't think this Bears team outside the defense has proven much.
Look, where'd they play at last week again?
Indianapolis.
They're back at home. All right, nice little reset this week. Maybe we get 400 yards and 3 touchdowns from Caleb Williams. No interceptions, or maybe 1 interception. We'll pump the brakes a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see.
If that happens and OSU wins, Preston, I'm in a mental torture chamber.
It'll be fun to watch as a bystander. All right, next game we're going to talk about I put the commies, the Commanders and the Cardinals in Arizona. Cardinals -3.5. I know the Cardinals lost last week, but I still think they're a really good football team.
I love the Cardinals in this spot because Commanders are going to be coming in off that high from Monday Night Football, one of their biggest wins that they've had in Lord knows how long. Jaden Daniels. I mean, I think Jaden Daniels is going to play great stuff, but I think the Commanders they don't have a good defense or anything. So I like the Cardinals in this spot.
And look, the Cardinals have only lost to the Bills and the Lions. Those are 2 teams that could make it to the Super Bowl.
Played them good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So I think the Cardinals are still a good football team, and I like them this week against the Commanders. Although I am kind of interested to see how Jaden Daniels is going to perform after that Monday night game. He has now been boosted up to the starter on my fantasy team. I have benched Brock Purdy, so Jaden Daniels is my starting quarterback now. So I'll be looking for some good stuff from him.
I got Lamar Jackson as my starter, but Jaden Daniels is my backup, so I might be in the trade market here for Jaden Daniels soon. So, Daddy needs a new running back.
Yeah, and that's why I picked up Jaden Daniels, because I was like, I've got a feeling that he's going to be one of the better rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, but you don't want to play him quite yet. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, next game we're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, who are just as hurt as the Rams, and the Chiefs are a 7.5-point favorite on the road in Los Angeles. Beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. I've been saying my bedtime prayers for Justin Herbert's ankle. He's got an ankle sprain that for some reason he is determined to play through, which I say, hey, man, just sit on the bench for a week or so, come back, be good to go. But no, he's going to play through it. They're just
for sure.
Jim's in the back with like the needle and syringe. Like, all right, man, we've got all these shots. Put in that ankle and you'll be good.
Can you walk? Yes, you're playing.
Yeah. Are you hurt or are you injured?
Yeah, staring at him
with those glasses.
Yeah, mouth breathing.
This is just a terrible spot for the Chargers, though. I mean, they're so hurt. The Chiefs are going to come in, which the Chiefs have a couple of injuries. Travis Kelce hasn't really played the best. Maybe his head is in the stars right now. He wants to be anywhere but playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a very bad spot for the Chargers this week.
I think this might be a little bit of a get right game for the Chargers or for the Chiefs. They're 3-0, obviously, but they haven't played their best football yet, and I think they'd love to do that against a divisional opponent.
I agree. Unfortunately, next game, Bills at Ravens. I believe this is Sunday Night Football. Baltimore 2.5-point favorite in that one. I don't know who I would take in this game. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one.
Yeah. Sorry. Hold on, I need to get some water real quick.
Get you some water.
All right, we're good.
Derrick Henry, though, has been awesome so far for Baltimore.
The game's in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, it's in Baltimore.
I'm going to go with Baltimore just based off that. I think these are two very even teams. I think the Ravens started 0-2, but I do think they're good. Good teams start 0-2 frequently. I still think they're a good team. So I'm gonna take the Ravens this spot. But Josh Allen is playing the best football in the NFL right now. So also hard to go against him. So I'm excited for this game. This is definitely the game of the weekend.
The Bills coming off the just absolute beatdown of the Jaguars last week. What was that Monday night or was that?
Yeah, it was Monday night.
Monday night, yeah.
It left our brains because we all turned off.
Well, they had two damn games on Monday night, which drives me insane.
And everyone turned off the Bills game to watch the Commanders Bengals.
Exactly, you're completely right. Give me the Ravens. Give me the Ravens at home. Seahawks at Lions. This is the later of the Monday night games. The Titans and the Dolphins, the other one, but I don't want to talk about that stinker because I think both teams could lose that game. No one could win that game. It's just going to be disgusting. So let's talk about the Seahawks and the Lions. The Seahawks are 3-0. They've played great. The Lions 2-1. The only loss they have is to the Buccaneers. But they looked good last week against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think this is a prove it game for the Seahawks. A lot of people are mentioning them as a legit possible NFC title contender, and I think a lot of people are also questioning that as well, just because Geno Smith, Pete Carroll's no longer there and stuff. I like the Seahawks in this. I do like the Seahawks. I think the 12th man's gonna be going crazy. And I also don't like the uniform the Lions are wearing. They're wearing like the baby blue helmets with the black jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Some candy ass uniforms. Non-Dan Campbell uniforms. So
yeah,
I like the Seahawks in this spot.
Give me the Seahawks as well. If that's your logic, I'm completely down with that logic. All right, let's get into our picks this week. Again, we're bad. We're not good. We're very bad. I'm going to pop up the results from last week here. A whopping two wins between the 6 picks that we had.
Mississippi State. I don't even know what I was thinking. They're so bad. Like, they're terrible.
You nailed BYU right on the head, though.
Yeah. And I put some money on that one too. So it was the only bet I made on Saturday. The only silver lining I had in my weekend. So that one worked out well. Mississippi State. I mean, they would be a middle of the pack MAC team. I mean, they got blown up by Toledo 41-17. So they're
not good. Then my Chargers, Justin Herbert got hurt like halfway through that game, and we had to go with Taylor Heineke. And things just didn't go the right way. And then Notre Dame, I think they scored 21 points total. That was just terrible against Miami, Ohio. But hey, you're 3-9. I'm 2-10. At least we got some wins on the board. So let's go ahead. And what is your first pick this week, T-Bag?
Ole Miss plays Kentucky this weekend. I think Ole Miss is really good, and I like the points here at home. So I'll take – this one's at Kentucky, I believe, actually. I still like Ole Miss in this spot. Give me Ole Miss. I'm not –
no, this is a home game for Ole Miss.
This is? Okay. Yeah. I like Ole Miss in this spot. I think Kentucky – people are blinded by Kentucky, what they did against Georgia, but I think Georgia kind of does that frequently year in and year out, the struggle against a conference opponent on the road. So I like Ole Miss in the spot. And then the Big Ten game of the week, or one of, Penn State – has Illinois at home. It's going to be – I think it's a wideout. I heard James Franklin go, I need wideout energy. I don't know if that means there's going to be a wideout or if he just needs the energy. Nonetheless, if the energy's there,
bringing out all the white boys.
Actually, Preston, is it too late to switch this?
No, you'll just have to text me and remind me for next week.
Now it's Penn State's going to. I'm going to take Illinois. Penn State's going to win by 19 now. So everyone take Penn State. I'm going to take Illinois. You know, Illinois is not a bad football team. I liked them last week against Nebraska. I was telling my buddies they were blinded by Dylan Raiola in Nebraska, and I was like, I don't like Illinois in this spot. I'm just gonna ride with them. I'm gonna ride with Brett Bielema in Illinois. I changed my tune as I start saying this out loud. I'm gonna ride with Illinois. That means take Penn State because every time I second guess myself, it never works out well. Last pick, I'm gonna ride with BYU again, 3.5 on the road at Baylor. Baylor off a heartbreaker. Baylor, I don't know how much they're fighting for Dave Aranda. I don't know. Dave Aranda's on the hot seat, so that part kind of scares me. I think BYU's a sneaky good football team, though. I don't think they're going to be in Arlington, but I think they're going to be in the mix for Arlington for the next few weeks. So I like BYU plus 3.5 here. I like BYU outright in the football game.
That one now down to Baylor -3 in that one. So moved a little bit. I'll be honest, I've forgotten all of my picks that I made. So we're just going to go ahead and see what my first pick of the week is. Oh, that's right. Arkansas +4 versus Texas A&M. Like I said earlier, this game is always a shootout. I like the Hogs this year. So give me Arkansas +4 versus A&M there in Jerry World in Arlington. Next pick is going to be Kansas State -5 versus Oklahoma State.
I'm not mad at you.
Like I said, yeah, Manhattan's a tough place to get up for an 11 a.m. kickoff. So, we'll see if Oklahoma State can do it or if K-State rolls in this one. I think K-State wins by at least 5. I'm saying probably about a touchdown, but give me the 5 points in that one. And then my final pick this week, I'm riding with you. BYU +3.5 at Baylor. When I think of Baylor, I think the city of Waco and how big of a dump it is. It smells like a word that I won't use on here again, like I did the other day to describe how Jackson Arnold played, but it smells like sewage by the stadium. That river is disgusting. And I just don't like that town at all. So I have no problem picking against the Baylor Bears.
Mormons First Baptist.
There you go. Yeah. In the middle of Texas. We see what crazy cults do in the middle of Texas. We've seen that before. So those are our picks of the week this week. We'll have to change this one with T-Bag. Go ahead and text me that actually right now, T-Bag, while I'm thinking about it. That way I can get that changed for next week. He's going to flip and take Illinois -19 versus Penn State this week. So we'll see if that pays off for him or if it doesn't. Who knows? We'll see.
It will. But I'm all in. I'm all in.
You got anything else on your mind before we get out of here?
Enjoy the weekend of football.
Shout out Oakland A's. Today was their last game in the Coliseum there in Oakland. It was kind of sad seeing everyone. I mean, the place was packed out. It was the first time all season I think the place was packed out today.
So the grounds crew is giving dirt to the fans.
Yeah, everyone was picking up some dirt before they left. So shout out Oakland A's fans. You don't deserve it, but you got a terrible owner, and that's just the way baseball is right now. A bunch of terrible owners that want all the money but don't want to spend any of the money. That's how I'll say it. So shout out the Oakland A's. But other than that, that's all I got. We will be back Sunday evening about 6 o'clock here on the Sports Animal YouTube. We'll also be at Thunder Media Days on Monday. We'll be tweeting out some stuff from the Sports Animal account. We'll be doing a video and hopefully get some other fun stuff for you guys for the podcast. So stick with us with that on Monday. But until then, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday.